The call came at 10:46 a.m. Your father passed peacefully, they said. But peace? I didn't feel it. Only an emptiness pressing down on my chest. I walked into her office, the glass walls reflecting a cold, sterile light, the scent of eucalyptus oil hanging in the air. Her assistants moved around like clockwork, and she barely glanced up from her screen. "You're not scheduled for time off," she said, as though the words were an inconvenience, her fingers tapping impatiently on the keyboard. "It's my father," I said, fighting the edge of my voice. "I need 4 days." She blinked, unbothered. "You'll need to choose between work and your family." I stared at her. Not my boss, my wife, the woman I had built everything with, the woman I thought would understand. She was cold, mechanical, and as always, so sure I'd just fold under the pressure. I nodded once and left without saying another word. That night, I moved $3.8 million from our joint assets into a trust, under a name she'd never think to check. Not out of revenge. Not yet. Just insurance. I buried my father alone. No one came. Not her. Not our friends. Not a soul from her world of curated success. Just me and the man who taught me that silence could speak louder than 1,000 shouts. We met 10 years ago. She was fire, a force of nature, hungry for the top. I was the calm behind the scenes, the steady hand guiding her empire while she made the headlines. Together, we built it all. I knew every password, every bank account, every shell company hidden behind her empire. She liked that I stayed in my lane. I liked that she trusted me enough not to look over her shoulder. Maybe that's what hurt the most. The betrayal didn't hit suddenly. It bled into our lives, slow and methodical, like rot beneath polished wood. The moment she chose her company over my father's funeral, it carved something into me. 3 weeks later, I stumbled upon the emails. I wasn't looking for them. I was just closing old contracts when I saw the forwarded chain. Her lawyer, a new version of our prenup. She was trying to freeze me out. I saw the offshore transfer requests, the modified board documents, the stock reassignments to her name only. I didn't flinch. I didn't drink. I didn't question it. I already knew. She didn't want a husband anymore. She wanted a ghost with a good signature. Revenge isn't rage. It's rhythm. I started small, quiet. First, I backed up everything. Emails, asset trails, everything. Even her affair with that junior partner in Singapore. Yes, I knew. I had eyes everywhere. Then I bought time. I smiled more, asked her out to dinner, made love with just the right amount of detachment. She thought she'd cracked me, that she'd broken me. I let her think that while I moved in silence. While she slept, I sold off dead assets she didn't remember we owned, liquidated art that she dismissed as worthless. I funneled the money into a legal firewall she couldn't trace. I built a trust, seeded with company equity, funneled through 3 different shell companies over the course of 6 months. By the time she noticed a dip in our holdings, the shares were already in motion, irrevocable. She called a meeting. She tried to corner me. "You've been acting strange," she said, her voice calm but sharp. "I'm grieving," I replied. "You should try it sometime." She scoffed. "This isn't working anymore." "I know," I said. "That's why I filed for divorce last week." She froze. Her face didn't crack, but I saw it, the briefest flicker, the tiniest twitch in her jaw. Then I told her to check her inbox. I watched as her eyes scanned the message in real time. The notice from the board. Effective immediately. Her CEO status was suspended, pending an investigation. "What did you do?" she demanded, looking up from the screen, her voice tight. I leaned in, my words cold. "I built the foundation. You just decorated the penthouse." I sent the board everything. Proof of financial misconduct, manipulated numbers, risky asset plays under false signatures. Everything. And I didn't stop there. I recorded every conversation in our house for the last 6 months, including the one where she bragged to her lawyer about how she'd cut me out, how she was going to leave me with nothing but ashes. I sent those recordings to our investors, our partners. Her reputation didn't just crack, it shattered. She was out within 72 hours. We had one final meeting, court-mandated mediation. She wore black, but it wasn't for mourning. It was for power. "You think you've won?" she hissed, venom dripping from her words. I shrugged. I didn't win. I just stopped losing. "You'll be alone," she snapped. I nodded. Better than being with someone who thinks grief is weakness. She leaned forward, her voice a whisper of venom. "You're still a nobody without me." I smiled, slow and deliberate. "Then why are you sitting here, fighting to keep your name on something I built?" She didn't answer. She just walked out, alone. I kept the house, not because I cared for it, but because I liked the quiet. She tried to claw back what she could, but the trust was sealed. The accounts were gone. She couldn't touch the $3.8 million I'd moved that night. She couldn't reach the voting shares I'd hidden across 3 states. Her new company flopped. The media didn't touch her anymore, not after the board leak. I don't hear from her anymore, and I don't look back. My father used to say, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. Just make sure you're watching when the mask falls. I watched, and when it fell, I didn't shout. I just smiled and moved every piece until the board tipped. Checkmate.